So, basically we're on the revolution here of, AI communication to our sphere and our database and our new leads. And, we've always had sort of a, issue with that last mile of leads being, called enough because we know the stats on how many times they actually should get called. And, ultimately, we really know that our clients would much rather have appointments and direct connections and hard, set appointments with buyers and sellers than just leads. So taking out a lot of the work and time and stress of dialing and doing it for you guys, and having really an incredible human-like voice talking to consumers the way we've been talking to consumers via text with RAIYA texting. RAIYA Voice is here, and it's absolutely amazing. So just setting the table for you guys to get into it.
Awesome. Just going to get started here. Oh, and you know what? Let me make sure you guys can hear audio, share sound. Fantastic. All right. Okay. Oh. Awesome. If you guys don't know me, my name is G. I'm one of the co-founders of Ylopo, along with Howard. I lead the product and marketing group. So this has been a baby of ours for almost 2 years now. We've been working on this. So over the moon to finally be able to present this new product. And as Howard said, I think it solves a major need in the industry, which is, frankly, agents just don't call enough to make the quality connections to effectively get the ROI you need out of large-scale lead generation, right? And that applies to what we consider to be nurture leads, like pay-per-click Google, or Facebook, but also widely applies to third-party sources as well, right? That's Zillow, Realtor.com, ZBuyer, or any of these other sources. And so we're excited to roll this out for the community. So with AI, we're able to generate and engage more prospects more efficiently than we've ever seen before, right? And what you guys are going to see is that from a communication perspective, not just lead generation perspective, we've already gotten, significantly better with AI, right? And that AI has been around for, and just getting better years and years. And so certainly generating leads, higher quality, lower cost, that is already happening. But where we see the fall off from a lead generation perspective is in the engagement, right? And on the Ylopo side, we've been looking to solve this problem for years now, right? And the first foray into this was texting, right? We wanted to take control of the texting element for our agents. We launched our first AI texting chatbot over 4 years ago. And just in the last 3 years, we've sent 70 million text messages, engaged almost 7 million leads. And the results of that have been phenomenal. First off, this is one of the most widely used products within the Ylopo suite. Over 70% of clients use RAIYA texting today. And of the non-opt-out leads, obviously some leads just say, stop, leave me alone, right? But of the non-opt-in leads that engage with AI, 37% of them results in what we call ready for follow-up stage, which means they've said, hey, call me, right? Like, agent, I'm ready to talk. And what's amazing about the chatbot that's different from other chatbots on the market, because chatbots can be anything, right, is that we are a humanistic chatbot. We are your digital assistant, right? And, we track how many of these consumers say, hey, are you AI, right? Because that's when it is non-humanistic and you're going to have a lower quality conversation. And that number has come down dramatically over time from 5 to 7% 4 years ago to now it is 0.36%, right? So the vast majority of the time, we are succeeding in our mission to provide you a humanistic chatbot, right? And for those of you guys who have never seen RAIYA text, let me just preview RAIYA texting so you can see the evolution to voice, right? So this is a real conversation with a consumer they are having with AI. We just put it to video so you can see how it all works. And let me play it.
Hi, Gary. This is Raya, Melissa's assistant with XYZ Brokerage. Did you ever find that house you were looking for in the area? I have several listings that might work on our website. Here's a link. Also, if you're not interested in being texted, just say stop.
And one point I want to make here is that RAIYA texting isn't just functioning like on its own, right? It is an omni-channel integration with the rest of the Ylopo suite, right? So what you're seeing here is consumer came in, we know what exactly the type of listings they're looking at, and then we are recommending to them listings in feed.
Gary, did the properties I sent load for you? Should I send via email instead? I have your email as gclayman@nilesiron.com, Melissa's assistant with XYZ Brokerage. Hey, this is Melissa's
So
assistant
we're
with XYZ
persistently
Brokerage.
texting.
Would you
until we
like
get
me
a
to send you a
response,
few
right?
real
It takes
estate listings
average
that might work
about
for your
5 to
purchase?
7 texts before.
I found a property that you might like. Let me know if I should text it to you or email it. Melissa's assistant with XYZ Brokerage.
Email is best.
Got it. I'll make sure to email you the property details. Are you considering making a move anytime soon?
Probably within the next 6 months.
That's great to hear. Planning ahead is always a good idea. Have you begun thinking of a general area you'd like to live?
Prefer downtown Sarasota. Condo.
That's a great choice. Downtown Sarasota offers a vibrant and convenient lifestyle. What price range are you considering at this time?
1 to 2 million.
With that budget, we can definitely find some amazing options for you. Another question I have is regarding the bedrooms and bathrooms. How many would your perfect house have of each?
3 bed, 2.5 bath.
A 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom condo in downtown Sarasota sounds like a fantastic choice. I'll keep that in mind as I search for properties that match your criteria. Have you been pre-qualified for a loan yet?
Cash.
That's great to hear. Being a cash buyer can give you an advantage in the real estate market. Do you have a home you want to sell before you buy?
No. Second place.
Second place sounds like a good option. Melissa will keep this in mind. Have you signed an agreement that requires you to work with another?
I'll stop there. I mean, you guys can see the quality of this conversation is fantastic, right? I mean, you know, I have a lot of clients that will text me and send me really amazing conversations and say like, hey, we just let the bot cook, you know, because it's doing such a good job in many ways, better than a human being would, you know, driving around or doing something else as everyone does. And we are persistently dedicated to obviously having the highest quality conversation with your agents, right? So that is what's happening on RAIYA Voice. And we've enhanced this substantially. We use the latest technology on the GPT side. We are fully integrated with GPT-4 at this point. And so we're always using the latest technology. We're going to use ChatGPT 4 Turbo. Next time 5 comes out, we're going to be using 5, so on and so forth. And it's not just making sure RAIYA works. RAIYA is functioning within your CRM, right? And so our primary CRM partner is Follow Up Boss. And, you know, within Follow Up Boss, as an example, we're doing integrations with them where the conversation drops directly into their inbox, right? So you can kind of see all of your text conversations, all of your email conversations, and all of your RAIYA conversations in the same thread, in the same areas, and you can respond to them in line, right? So it's you know, what we found is it's not only the quality of the bot, but it's making sure agents can see those conversations, work those conversations, so on and so forth. So we've done a lot of work in that regard to make it as easy as possible. So AI texting, very powerful, but we found that calling is still the best way to directly connect with the lead, build rapport, and what you care about is actually set an appointment or a live transfer for someone to talk to, right? Roughly 25% of engaged RAIYA conversations result in an appointment-ready signal. But if we actually called those consumers, and really 100% of consumers, not just the 25, almost 50% of all voice conversations lead to a live transfer or an appointment. That's why calling is so important, right? And the problem that we're trying to solve is that agents just don't call enough, right? We have a live call center, a live human being call center, right? I have to specify that, calling these leads for for around 2 years now. And what we've seen in that large body of work is that it takes at least 7 call attempts in order to get a quality connection, right? And then that first call attempt, you're only going to get about 8% response rate, right? And looking at all of the data across our clients in platforms like Follow Up Boss, the average for our clients is 1.2 calls in the first 30 days, right? And that is the problem we're trying to solve. Jay, did you want to? And by the way, guys, let me introduce Jay. Jay is our lead marketing consultant. He not only is staring at this all day, but he has worked with hundreds of our clients on RAIYA Voice from a consulting perspective, and literally going into their Follow Up Boss account and digging into the metrics, right? So he has boots on the ground knowledge of how all of this works. So Jay.
Yeah, and I love this screen. I'm in the screen at pretty much every client call that I have. And, it really highlights to a lot of clients, like, the accountability perspective. And Howard said this earlier, there's just not enough calls being made. And in some cases, there's not enough time in the day. So RAIYA Voice answers a lot of those questions or a lot of those issues and addresses a lot of them. And, with consumers now looking for a more customized approach and something that's really tailored toward them, it addresses this in so many different ways. And, like G was saying, the first contact, you're not going to get that many people to answer. But the second, the third, but that consistency is key, where RAIYA Voice is that answer.
Yeah, and I know this is really small screens here, but look, Ylopo as a source, 0.71 calls. Not good, right? Direct Connect, which is a higher quality version of our PPC leads, where they're answering like 20 questions, 1.08 calls, right? But Zillow, which is several $100s to several $1,000s per lead, 1.2, right? I mean, that's a problem, So, that is where we're seeing the call issues come in that we're trying to solve, right? So Ylopo has been on a 2-year journey to solving this problem. 2021, we released our Google LSA call center. In 2022, we created a product called Facebook Click to Call. And in the last year, we have been developing a Ylopo Live, which is our full lead generation and, integrated with voice, platform. And it has today evolved into what we call RAIYA Voice, which is our full on outbound ISA solution, right? And, what we've learned from over 200,000 calls in the last year is, one, obviously, you need to make more calls, right? That's the number one learning. But it's not just making the calls. The call quality has to be extremely strong, right? And call quality is comprised of voice quality. You need someone on the phone that builds an immediate rapport, right? And you need to have the right scripts, right? It's also got to be triggered and cadence-based, right? What that means is, I can call a lead randomly over 30 days, just sporadically calling those leads, right? Well, you need that. You need output, right? But if they were triggered by something, like they had a RAIYA text conversation, or they came back to your website to look for homes, the percentage connect rate when you call those people at the moment where they're engaging with you is significantly higher, right? And so we need trigger and cadence-based calling together, right? And the last piece is that we need to have a really strong agent handoff, right? This is where a lot of other platforms we've looked at in this space that does live human calling, because no one's doing AI, is that the handoff between the consumer and the agent from the AI's perspective is not good, right? Simple stuff seems simple, right? As a lead exists in a pond, we live transfer it to the agent, and then the agent has to fumble around for the data of who this person is, and then go into the pond, find that lead, assign it to themselves. It's a mess, right? So we've really focused on the agent team handoff experience to make it really clean, really easy for them to have a great dialogue. Jay, did you have something to add here?
Yeah, the focus on call quality and voice scripts I wanted to touch on is, before I got my degrees, I actually worked in call centers for about 15 years, and there is a drastic difference between empathy versus sympathy. That's a really important factor of, like, are you too sympathetic to someone, you let them off the phone, versus addressing their needs and then, following up with them later on? Or is it, a situation where you're empathetic to them and you're really just, hey, let me get out of your hair and let me solve this issue for you as easily as possible. And excited to hear some more on that later on in the next few slides.
Awesome. So, in a perfect world, right, having a high ISA requires a lot of skill, top level talent, great actual technology, and a host of a lot of things in order to execute. And it's very expensive. I mean, for any of you that have ISAs, train ISAs, use that model, etc., or frankly yourself, right? Like there's a lot that goes into setting the appointment with the consumer to have a conversation, right? And that was until the advent of what we call voice AI, right? So voice AI was only possible, frankly, with the explosion of generative AI technology in the last really year, right? And we immediately, when we saw GPT technology come out, we said, okay, voice is going to be possible, right? And we've been like a hawk looking at this technology to see when it would work, right? And, about 6 months ago, we started using a generation of this technology, and we thought this is really promising, right? So let me give you a conversation. This is old technology, right? But gives you a sense of what we heard from AI.
Hello?
Hey, Auntie Annette.
Yes, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm doing good.
That's awesome to hear. So, Auntie Annette, I was going through our database, and I wanted to check if you're still considering moving in the next 6-12 months.
Doing what in the next 6 to 12 months?
Oh, sorry if I wasn't clear. I meant to ask if you're still considering moving to a new home within the next 6-12 months. Are you still in the market for a new place?
I am.
That's great to hear, Auntie Annette. It's an exciting time to explore new homes. Can you tell me a bit about what you're looking for in a home? Any specific features or preferences?
Sure. Also, it's Antoinette.
Apologies for the misspelling, Antoinette, and thanks for letting me know. Now let's talk about your preferences for a new home.
Right. So you can still tell this is robotic voice. I mean, the consumer couldn't because, you don't expect any AI to call you, right? But, if we're listening to it closely, we can hear the sound of the voice. The latency is not great. But you can see how sophisticated this technology is already getting, right? This consumer, the AI mispronounced, butchered her name. She corrected the AI, and the AI immediately corrects that name, right? So we saw this generation of technology and we said, okay, there's something here. We're getting really close, right? And so, we believe full AI voice is the future. And we have a whole mess of engineers working on solving the full AI problem, right? But what we wanted to perfect with full AI is consistent voice quality, control of every script, and improving the latency of the conversation, right? And so full AI is here, but we want to be in full control of it, which is why we combine the best of both worlds into something we call human assist AI, right? With human assist AI, what it is it's an AI voice, AI scripting. Most of the conversation is happening in an automated way, but I literally have a human being watching these conversations. And if it goes awry or it's not perfect, they will take over the conversation on their keyboard, right? And control the conversation paths so the conversation goes perfectly, right? So let me show you, two sample conversations of how that's working.
Hello?
Hi, Alicia.
Uh-huh.
Hi. I'm a digital assistant with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate on a recorded line. I'm following up with you regarding the home search profile that you submitted. What is it that brought you to our website?
I'm actually planning on moving down to the coast. I'm not sure if I'm going to move to North Carolina coast or South Carolina coast.
Oh, okay.
But I was just looking to see what might be available when I decide to do this.
Awesome. What time frame did you have in mind?
I'm not really sure. I'm trying to sell my house in Charlotte right now.
I see.
And once I sell it, I'll be moving
Okay.
3 or 4 months. I mean, that's not on the market yet. By word of mouth, I've got a few people that I know that's interested in it. So I'm just holding out to see what they do. And if they don't give me an answer soon, I'm going to put it on the market.
Oh, good. It seems that you have some decisions to make. We'd love to connect you with our realtor who can then strategize a game plan around possibly selling your home.
Okay.
Please hold on a minute just while I connect you, okay?
So, I mean, you know, I would put this voice quality against any person that is communicating with a lead, right? And you can see here the latency problem pretty much eliminated. You know, the scripting is best practice, and we're listening to, you know, every call that is happening with AI. And if it says something that is, you know, off or whatever is the case, or we can improve, we're revising those scripts, right? So, you know, one of the benefits of AI is it's always learning, right? And so over time, as we have more and more conversations, the quality of our scripting and the quality of the bot just improves, and you're getting the benefit of that, right? So you can see with this conversation, it led directly to a seller appointment. And by the way, if you picked up on it, these are live transfers, right? So we're not just setting the appointment, giving the lead. We are going into Follow Up Boss, going into the pond, finding the lead, calling the list of agents, first to claim, right? So whichever agent picks up first, we're doing the live transfer with them, right? So
Hello.
let me show you another conversation that I like because of the fact that, you know, we'll show you how it does objection handling.
Hi, Logan.
It's Logan.
Oh, hi there. This is Jesse, a digital assistant with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate on a recorded line. How are you doing today?
In all honesty, my friend had just sent me the house and the house I was looking at,
Okay.
and I had to go through all the steps, so I just quickly had filled them out.
What did you think about the properties that you saw?
I personally like them.
Good.
I'm just starting out. I'm looking just for like a place I could like grab, fix it up, and then sell it.
Uh-huh. What time frame did you have in mind?
I'm not 100% sure, in all honesty. This is just kind of something new that I've wanted to get into, so I'm trying to get an idea of the market and everything.
Okay, yeah, I do understand. There are actually a lot of factors that you need to consider when buying a home, and we don't want to sell you a home right now. We'd love to connect you with our realtor who can strategize a game plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Please hold on a minute just while I connect you, okay?
Okay.
Please give me just a moment here.
So you can see here, I mean, you know, the bot is very well trained. It's trained in objection handling. And I saw a comment in here. It's like, oh, they should have said house instead of condo. Yes. You know, the bot is not perfect, right? But, you know, tell me a human being that is going to be 100% accurate all the time. The bot is learning. It's getting better. The goal is not perfection, right? The goal is really good with scale, right? You can do this in an automated way. No one's going to call your leads 10, 20 times over a 30, 60-day period. No one's going to call thousands of leads every single month through your database 5, 10 times, right? Just, you know, there's no scale in that, right? And that is what AI is providing. And, you know, in terms of scripting, yes, we will build out a lot of different scripting standards, and it is reflecting off of your registration experience of the consumer. So if the consumer says they have a home to sell, we're going to parody that, right? If they say they're looking for a specific location, we're going to parody that, right? So it's, again, omni-channel. It's connected to their website activity. It's connected to their emails they're receiving, remarketing they're receiving, text messages they're receiving, and ultimately using all of that data from a voice perspective.
Hi, Logan.
So benefits of AI, consistent voice quality, best practice scripting, algorithm-based calling. You know, we're working all of your Ylopo signals like priority alerts. So we're generating these signals on the Ylopo side, and then the bot is acting on those triggers, right? And it's a transparent automated call transfer. Someone asked, what is the call transfer process, right? The AI calls the agent. The agent, if they're in a pond, first person picks up. They say, hi, I have a live transfer from you. Their name is Amanda. You know, I'm going to transfer that lead over to you. The agent says, yes. We do the call transfer, and then we send a note right away, email right away with all of the details of the registration experience, right? And then post the call, we pass through a note with a summary of the initial conversation, right? In the near future, we're going to also pass through a transcript of the initial call as well from the AI perspective, so you see all of it. But, you know, we frankly think it's better if you get a summary of that conversation. And all of this is human guided, right? So you're not just letting the AI go, you know, there's a human guided component to this, you know, to make sure the call quality is extremely high. So, you know, we see the human assisted AI as a bridge between the live call center and the full AI call center, right? By the end of Q1, the human call center, human assisted call center, because we are going to have so much training data, examples of the best conversations, et cetera, we're going to be able to go full AI, right? And when we go full AI, obviously we're going to be able to do even more calling. You would not believe how cheaply we'll be able to call through the thousands of leads in your database. And so that is coming, but we want to release a product that we're really proud of, that we know the quality is extremely high, which is why we're launching with the human assisted AI call center first. So on the pricing side, good news with AI is that we can lower the cost, right? Because we have leverage from a technology perspective. Now, there is a human being monitoring these calls, right? So it is not, full AI, right? But we are able to reduce the price to something that I think the market has never seen before, right? The price is basically tiered based on your level, which correlates to how many leads you generate, right? Our average Ylopo client generates about 100 leads at level 1, and we're going to charge you $250 set price. You go over, it's fine, and it backs into about $2 to $2.50 per lead that we're working, right? If you compare that price against a ISA, you compare that against a live call center service, this is order of magnitude lower, right? And so we think this is both a higher quality conversation product and a lower price point by far, right? And so if you for webinar participants, we're going to give you a deal on this. We want you to try this technology. We're going to make it real easy for you. And so, when you contact our sales team to talk about this technology, just know we're going to give you a huge discount to try it. We know this is very novel. This is new in the marketplace, and you have to see it to believe it. And so we want to make sure we give you that opportunity, right? So, we'll give you the directions for how to direct this. How to talk to sales. Obviously, you can just ylopo.com and register. But talk to your, sales team. I think this is an absolute game changer, because it's not just about the leads you generate, right? Now you generate leads and you're stacking on top best practices from a texting and calling perspective that we have seen statistically is going to work to lead to a higher ROI. Right. So if you want to sign up right now, I'm going to go through the tactical key pieces in a second here. Here's a QR code. The URL to visit is ylopo.com/RAIYA-voice-demo, which will go directly to our sales team. But, you can register on ylopo.com as well. And we can obviously talk to you about this if you don't remember the domain. But here is an easy way to sign up. And look, just have a conversation with us, right? We want to talk to you more about this technology and the rest of the Ylopo suite, and love for you to just explore this as an option, right? So here's how RAIYA Voice works. So RAIYA Voice today will only activate on Ylopo new leads. So these are leads that Ylopo generates, right? The reason for that is we have spent a lot of money from a compliance perspective to make sure AI calling is compliant, right? Because that is a huge factor. AI itself is a different standard in terms of compliance, and voice calling people is a different standard, right? And so we want to make sure that from a registration experience perspective, all the way through, we are fully compliant, which is why we're starting with Ylopo new leads. And in terms of the stats, right, with Ylopo new leads, we're seeing a connection rate of 28%. So out of 100 leads that pick up or that we call, obviously this is over a 30-day period, right? So we're making, a ton of calls. Over time, we see an aggregate of a 28% connection rate, which I think is really strong. 8% of those calls results in a appointment, essentially a callback that they want scheduled, right? And so we'll pass that lead over to you, but our goal is a live transfer, right? So at the appointment time, so let's say they say, call me back at 2:00 tomorrow. We are going to call that lead back, and we're going to continue to call that lead back until they pick up, right? Until they are live transfer, right? So our entire goal is to generate appointments and live transfers with an emphasis on live transfers, right? And 5% of those calls directly result in live transfer. So 14% or 13% of the 28% of connections out of 100 leads is going to result in an appointment or a live transfer, right? That's what we've seen from a statistical perspective across hundreds of thousands of calls at this point.
And I wanted to add more to that, G, as
Go ahead,
well.
please.
To kind of call back to, the statistics that we looked at for how many calls were on average. It doesn't matter if you're a large team, a brokerage, or even a single agent. This is applicable to you and will allow you to scale. And imagine how much time it would take to train someone, an ISA or a VA, to actually do those calls. And then you have the margin of human error where they're not doing it correctly or they're letting people off the phone too much. This is that safety net for you for lead generation, whether you're a small agency or brokerage or an actual company with 100 agents. So 100 agents, 1 or 3. This is definitely applicable for every team size.
100%. Yeah. And someone asked about inbound calling from sources like Zillow. We're working on that right now. Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a second in terms of third-party sources. So the way RAIYA Voice works is right now it only works with Follow Boss, right? We are integrating other CRMs as we speak today, Sierra, KV Core, Chime, etc. And so that is being worked on and will be there in a couple of months. And the reason it works off of Follow Boss today is because we found the best way it works is through the pond structure, right? And so the way it works is you drop all of your Ylopo leads into the pond and any source that you want. So you could work, a certain number of Ylopo leads yourself, a certain number of leads via AI. We obviously think you should just drop all of them into AI, but it's totally up to you. And then you would assign, say, 3 agents, 5 agents, 2 agents, whatever it is, to the pond. And then when we do a live transfer, we're going to transfer it to the first agent that picks up the call, right? And once the live transfer is complete, we're going to send a note through, email through to the agent as soon as the call completes with all of their registration data, so you know who you're talking to. And then we're also going to automatically assign the lead out of the pond to the agent, right? So they're not digging around their database. They're not doing any of that kind of stuff. They're just looking at their CRM, looking at the data in the CRM, and the lead is assigned to them, right? So yeah, call pickup will trigger lead distribution. So when can you go live on this product? We already have, and that number is 400 clients on our go live wait list. We're taking hundreds at a time live right now. And so at this point, if you sign up, this is old, you're probably going live, end of December. And realistically, most of you will want to go live January. So by the time you go live with the Ylopo platform, because most of you I'm talking to today are prospects of Ylopo, you will be able to go live on Voice as well, right? So, there is really no wait time at this point for this product. We go through a whole setup process with you. That's why, your setup fee will be included in your setup fee for Ylopo, but we go through a whole process to make sure you're onboarded. We set up your pond. We work with you to make sure you're familiar with it. We have weekly RAIYA Voice masterminds hosted by our realtor in residences, Barry and Gabe. So you can ask them any questions, get best practice advice, all of that stuff, right? So we make sure you're very supported on this process. So in terms of the rollout schedule, so right now, this is rolling out for new Ylopo leads. We are sorting through the compliance standards to work your third-party sources like Zillow, Realtor.com, ZBuyer, etc. And that will be early Q1. And by the end of Q1, we're going to be able to work your entire database, right? And that is going to be insane because if our median Ylopo client has 4,000 leads in their database, right? We've seen that it takes a minimum, as you guys saw, 7 phone calls in order to get a quality connection, right? So imagine us on a monthly basis calling, let's say 1,000 of those leads a month, right? 7 times. That's 7,000 phone calls. If you had ISAs making those dials, sitting there and making those calls, that would take, we estimate, about 3 people full-time, 3 people. Right? And we're going to do all of that for you on an automated basis. It's going to be at a price that is a no-brainer because we'll be in full AI. And so my recommendation is, for all of our clients is jump on board with RAIYA Voice today, get used to the AI flow because it is obviously a unique flow, right? And by the time you reach end of Q1, we're going to be able to layer on third-party sources in your database. And then we're making literally probably 10,000 calls for an average client, for a median client on Ylopo into your database for a cost that is, we think insanely reasonable. So this is just the beginning, right? The whole point of voice is that it's omni-channel, right? It's not just working off of independently off of, like whatever lead is going on, right? So let me give you an example. With RAIYA Squared, which is what we call text and voice added together, right? A consumer that opens a listing alert, favorites a listing on your website, is going to get a text to the consumer to see that property. The consumer that replies back, AI voice is going to call and set the appointment and then immediately live trust the agent, right? So all of the Ylopo technology is functioning on a flywheel, right? We're generating the activity, we're turning the activity into information that we want to text the consumer about. We're also doing the calling at the same time. If the text message engages the consumer, the voice component comes right in, it knows the information from the text message, and then live transfers to the agent, right? And so, again, even with a human level solution, you might not have all of that data together in the moment where you're doing outbound phone calls, right? And having the data is extremely important in making sure the conversation is as best as possible. And, Ylopo is integrating RAIYA 100% into our user flow, right? Now, I will tell you, we are building RAIYA Squared to be a product that doesn't require Ylopo, right? And in probably Q2 of next year, you'll be able to license Ylopo Squared on its own with other platforms, especially in the Follow Boss ecosystem, right? But today, it functions as integrated part of the Ylopo stack, and you can see the advantages of why we're doing that. So this is just the beginning, right? I saw a question about inbound phone calls. We're building a full AI digital assistant. It's going to take inbound phone calls, sign calls, showing coordination, transaction management, a whole host of other features, right? That impacts your day-to-day. And so we're kind of looking at ISA functionality as the hardest problem that we need to solve, because this is the biggest agent need that we see. And then we're moving toward a administrative role as well, right? So there's going to be an evolution of this product as it grows. And, there is no other AI product on the market that makes sense, in the context of everything that you've seen here. And so if you are a part of Ylopo, you're going to be the first agent that has access to this type of technology, and it's going to provide massive scale and cost efficiencies for you, with that product, right? So once again, register here to see, to get a demo of everything you saw here, as well as the rest of the Ylopo suite. We really would like to deep dive with you and show you how all of our platforms work in concert together. Jay, anything else you want to add before we go?
Answer a couple questions here live. So I know there were a couple questions as far as if Canada is available. So Canada will be available by the time you do go live. So if you have not signed up for a demo, I would recommend doing so now. The compliance on that moved very quickly, which just goes to show how fast Ylopo innovates. There were also some questions on, is there a limit to the number of calls with that $250 RAIYA Voice budget? So on that one, let's say, for example, you're on level 1 and you max out all level 1 budgets on PPC, Direct Connect, any lead generation service. There are no caps. So if you end up generating 250 leads compared to 100 on your level 1, RAIYA Voice will still contact all of those leads. All right, that's pretty much all I had. Anybody else have any other questions in the chat or you wanted to have addressed?
Just looks like a bunch of people asking about other CRMs. The Zillow-phobic people.
Yeah, definitely. We're working on integration of Sierra right now, and then we're just going on down the line with other CRMs. And so, I would say sign up with us, tell us what CRMs you want to get on, and then we'll kind of inform you as soon as that's ready. But it's sooner than you think. Yeah, we're working on it right now.
And then had a good last question there about the question, do not call list is covered, ?
Yes, we've gone through extensive compliance around that piece. And so simple answer is yes. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we invite you to talk more about Ylopo. We appreciate you attending today. Hopefully this is something you guys have never seen before and accelerates your ROI on platforms like ours. So we will be in touch. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.